You know, we always talk about logging off to beat burnout. But what if the real solution isn't logging off, but logging a completely new kind of code? We're talking about turning your script into your shrink, using the very logic that causes us stress to actually process it. Okay, let's get into this. This is a wild one.
It sounds like a joke, right? But this question, it really gets to the heart of this fascinating new practice we're seeing. It's all about embedding our own humanity, our own sense of humor, directly into the tools we spend all day building. And this isn't just some abstract, high-level theory. Nope, out in the wild, developers are already doing this. They're transforming these mundane, everyday scripts into these deeply personal, cathartic, and honestly, sometimes hilarious digital confessionals.
Okay, check this out. This is the perfect example. It's a simple Python script, but its purpose is not so simple. It takes old, quarantined files, the stuff we should be letting go of, and it slaps on a name that is just brilliantly, painfully human.
So how on earth does a script not only make a joke, but somehow also understand it? This is where things get really, really clever. We're actually going to debug the humor itself.
So the script is called Rename Archives Are Wit, byte PY, and its purpose is totally twofold. On the one hand, it's a practical tool. It's for proper brand hygiene, cleaning things up. But on the other hand, it's an emotional processing tool, specifically designed to acknowledge just how hard it is to archive old projects.
And what's really mind-bending is the script's logic. It has a built-in humor detection routine. Seriously. First, it scores irony. It looks at the juxtaposition, that clash between the action of archiving and the name I won't let go. Then it flags what it calls meta markers, these little self-referential tags like ASIF at Jerry, which is just a nod to the creator's own habits. And finally, it confirms the verdict, basically telling itself, yep, irony registered, the rename is the joke.
And get this, the system's own analysis concludes that this isn't just funny, it's peak irony. The code itself is validating the creator's witty, self-aware intent. The code is in on the joke.
So, all of this brings us to the script's real mission. It's not just about renaming files or even being clever. It's about something much, much deeper. It's about using code for catharsis. And this just lays it out perfectly. The two sides of the coin. On the left, you've got the purely functional job. Keep things tidy, quarantine old files. But on the right, you see its true power. It's an emotional tool that gives a voice to that feeling we all know of just not being able to let go of our past work. So the crucial point is this. It works because it's a meta joke. It just perfectly captures that internal conflict that pretty much every developer feels, that instinct to preserve everything you've ever built versus the practical, logical need to move on and clean house. But here's the thing. This idea goes way beyond one quirky little script. It taps into a much, much larger conversation about the modern burnout battlefield, especially in the tech world.
I mean, we live in the age of AI, right? We're surrounded by all these tools designed to make our lives easier. But here's the paradox. Sometimes, these exact same tools can become a huge new source of stress and anxiety.
On the one hand, AI can be a powerful burnout buster. Look at this data from healthcare. When they introduced AI scribes to automate clinical notes, burnout rates saw a huge drop from nearly 52% all the way down to under 39%. That is a massive positive impact, and it happens when a tool fits a workflow perfectly. But if we look at the conversation that's happening online right now, the picture is a lot more complicated. You've got the good, like those AI scribes saving doctors from mountains of paperwork. But you've also got the bad, developers feeling the heat from these top-down mandates to use generative AI, a lot of times with zero support or training. And then there's this weird middle ground, the watchful, where predictive AI is being used to spot burnout, which, raises its own set of questions.
And this gets to the dark side of all this so-called efficiency. Developers are talking about invisible stress stacks. These are time-saving tools that, ironically, end up creating more anxiety. Why? Well, because when a tool promises to make you faster, the expectation for your output just skyrockets. What was supposed to be a helping hand just becomes another source of pressure.
So, how do we navigate this? Well, it all comes back to the big lesson from our little script. The key is developing a new kind of skill, maybe even a new superpower, meta-awareness.
So what even is meta-awareness in this context? It's the practice of building our own humanity and self-reflection directly into the tools we create, just like that humorous script did. And this is so critical because it's what makes tools work for us, not against us. It helps make sure the software we build actually fits our real workflows. It helps us reclaim a sense of control,
And ultimately, it lets us create technology that is genuinely more empathetic.
And this leads to a pretty fundamental question you should ask yourself next time you're in your IDE. Is the code you're writing just a cold, functional tool that's meant to execute a task? Or could it be something more? A mirror, maybe, reflecting your own thoughts, your frustrations, and even your humor right back at you, making the machine just a little more human.
And that leaves us with one final provocative thought. In a world where the lines between our work and ourselves are blurring more than ever, could your next script be the most effective therapist you've ever had?